Just as how as you have your eggs in the morning, start your day right with tips to make green living a lot easier. Going green doesn't have to be so complicated, so we make it easy for you. Tune in to Omelette, a podcast series brought to you by Sunview, to navigate sustainability and, who knows, you might want to make part of it out of your everyday life. What's up everyone and how's it hanging? My name is Charlene from marketing and my colleague here, Parvin from Project Rooftop. We're going to talk about 5 common myths you might have heard about solar energy and what are the misconceptions around it. So, since solar energy is a big buzzword these days, everybody's talking about it, but that doesn't mean everything you hear is accurate or true. So, hi Parvin, thanks for joining us today.
Hi.
Let's dive into some of the most popular solar energy conceptions out there. According to what I have seen online, it says that solar panels only work when the sun shines. Is that true?
Makes sense, right? Okay, the truth is not exactly like if you have a little bit of sunlight, then you will function. There's some amount of threshold that you have to cross in order for the inverters to work. So beginning early morning, usually the inverter haven't started running yet.
Oh, okay.
So it is based on the irradiance level. Irradiance is the amount intensity of light.
Yeah, intensity.
So once you cross that particular threshold in the inverter, then the inverter will start running.
Okay, wow. Since Malaysia receives a lot of solar irradiance because of our geographical location, so the solar irradiance, I believe you might have more to share, is probably higher and lower in some parts of the country.
Okay, solar irradiance actually fluctuates from time to time. So in the early morning, you get less solar irradiance and in the evening, you will get more solar irradiance. So your peak time is about 11 to 2 o'clock. So during this time, you actually get very good solar irradiance.
Okay.
As long as it doesn't rain on that time.
Okay.
So you actually can generate a lot of power.
Myth busted. Another thing that I've seen is solar panels are high maintenance. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I have good news on that. Home solar system doesn't need much attention at all. They don't have any major mechanical parts. So this makes low chances of stuff breaking and needing replacement. But panel cleaning is a common thing. Anything that you let on the roof for a certain amount of time, you're going to collect dust on it. So sometimes you need some sort of cleaning. But you don't need to use any detergent. There is no specific thing. You actually can use just water and a glass cleaner.
Okay.
It will do. Plus our tropical climate with regular rain is enough to keep the panels clean actually.
Same thing with like commercial industrial rooftops, right?
Okay, the longer it goes, you do need some sort of maintenance. You can talk to your SI and then find out the costing. So you can actually predict in future how much maintenance cost you have as the years goes. Yeah.
So there you have it. It does not need high maintenance. It just depends and it's actually a lot less than you think. Another thing is, will solar PV system damage my roof?
Okay. Damage your roof, not exactly. Let's say you are a residential client, then your roof material is roof tile, right? Maybe you didn't move it for 15-20 years, right? So you suddenly move it and it's old clay tile, it can crack and all this kind of stuff. Let's say there's leaking in your house. We overlooked it, we will change the clay tile and then whatever damage done, we repair it for you. If there is, okay? That is also easily rectified. So in terms of roof damages for residential, that's about it. For CNI, we go for larger scale. One panel is about 37 kgs, it's quite heavy.
Oh, wow.
So you cannot simply install on the roof. So what we do is we do a CNS study. We actually study the structure of the roof, whether it can support the number of panels that you say. If the report says the roof strength is enough to support the adequate load, then only we go ahead and install the solar panel.
Okay.
If not, there is ways to mitigate this thing. We can do roof strengthening.
Roof strengthening.
Yeah, and you can actually cater for that particular load. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So as you may have heard, there's actually a lot that goes into installing the panels to the rooftop. So you need to do like a CNS study, as you said, just to make sure you can assess the load. Because if you can't assess the load, then it might not be also very good if you install it. Because since one panel you say is 37 kg, and for homes it's like it's easily rectified, especially with the clay tiles. And you can actually strengthen your roof also. So there's quite a lot of things that actually go into it. And I believe service providers like ourselves, we do take care of this to make sure the customers are just in good hands. So another thing I think you might be more familiar with, maybe you've heard from some clients that people might say, I'll always have electricity if I install solar panels, especially during blackouts. So we all know that this has happened before, but what do you think?
Okay, so in Malaysia, right, TNB's electricity supply is very stable. Very rare you get all these blackouts. When is the last time you remember you had a blackout?
Great question. I can't remember.
Yes, exactly. So what we have here is on-grid inverters. We depend on the grid. The grid need to start up the inverter. If we lose the grid, the inverter stop functioning. It can be treated as a safety thing also, because if let's say there's a blackout, then the solar is working. If there is somebody working on that portion of the electrical panels or what, there's a chance they get electrocuted.
Yeah, so it's good that it switches off. Just as a safety procedure, it does actually power off during a blackout. But I think you mentioning something the other day about off-grid solar, like how it actually doesn't get affected.
Yeah, off-grid solar doesn't get affected because it doesn't depend on the grid. So what you do is you generate electricity, you use it, and the excess you save it in batteries and use it at night. So on grid, you actually can only use this power supply from 7 to 7. 7 in the morning, sun rises, then the solar system
Sunrise,
starts,
sundown.
and then 7 p.m. sun sets and the solar system stops.
Okay. All right, sounds interesting. I am sure this answered a lot of questions that some of us might have had about blackouts. So last but not least, which is how solar panels are just too expensive.
It is, okay. We have a lot of components in this. I mean, you have to buy the solar panels, then you have the inverters, you have the structure to support the solar panels, you have cables, you have AC cables, you have DC cables. So all these, yes, definitely, it's not as pricey as you think. It is affordable. There are ways to mitigate this thing. Most of the solar companies, they can give you flexible installment plans. Banks also supports this now. And there are multiple schemes like Solar for Rakyat incentive scheme. So you can use all these methods. But then, this being said, you can always go to your SI and say, okay, I want to install solar. What kind of options can you give me? Okay?
Okay.
So you can come to us and we can provide you whatever options that we have now.
Yeah.
Okay, there is even a credit card plan.
Yeah, credit card and then cash plan as well. Like, I think there are more options for people to install solar now because there's also schemes to back it up as well.
Yeah, correct.
Especially with the net energy metering scheme.
Yeah, NEM scheme is more like from 7 to 7. Let's say you go to office, right? So there is nobody using the electricity at home. The solar energy is being produced. So what it does is it exports out back to the grid, and then in your meter, will record this value. How much you have produced and how much you have sent to the grid. So at night, it imports back the power. It doesn't happen on a daily basis. It is end of the month, TNB will see how much power you have produced and how much you have consumed from TNB, and they will contract this thing.
Okay.
So you're not at home.
Yeah.
The energy is being produced, it's not wasted.
I see.
Okay, it's sent out. And you will use back at the end of the month, they will offset this thing, yeah.
Wow, what a scheme. Oh my goodness. That actually answers a lot of things, whether solar is legal in Malaysia, because that is also another thing we get a lot from our customers as well. So now there's this scheme, you can benefit from it, especially when you install solar. There are providers out there like ourselves that actually help to take care of it for you, and they're flexible financing payment options. So who doesn't want that? Thanks, Parvin, for joining us today.
Thank you.
So that's all for today. Not sure about some of the stuff that was said? Please let us know, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. My name is Charlene from Marketing, and I have Parvin from Project Rooftop.
Yep.
And you're tuned into Omelette. Stay fresh, stay plugged in. Hey, you made it to the end of the podcast. You might even find yourself using these acronyms and understanding the jargon. Now that wasn't so hard, was it? Thanks for tuning in. We got more of where that came from. If you liked it, check out our next episode of the Sunview series. Stay clear, stay plugged in.